Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are tackling something that, honestly, it feels kind of abstract and distant, right? Like something you only see in movies. Until the exact second it isn't. When an arrest happens, panic just instantly sets in. You feel this absolute loss of control. But here's the thing. Knowing your fundamental legal rights in that terrifying, overwhelming moment, it is literally the most crucial thing you can do to protect your future and your freedom. So just picture this for a second. You, or maybe someone you love, are suddenly sitting in the back of a police cruiser. Ask yourself, do you actually know what your rights are the second those handcuffs click shut? It's a chilling thought, right? But realistically, any citizen could face this at some point. Maybe it's a sheer misunderstanding, a business dispute, or a formal accusation. It happens. And for a terrified family waiting at home, the absolute most desperate question is always, are they getting bail? Are they going to be sleeping in their own bed tonight, or are they getting locked in a holding cell? How does a court actually draw that razor-thin, life-altering line between walking free and doing jail time? Well, to answer that, we can't just rely on local police station rules. No, we've got to go straight to the top, the supreme law of the land. What does the Constitution of Pakistan actually say about your personal liberty? How does that specific document act like a shield against the massive power of the state? So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to cover arrest and rights, the constitutional framework, the core principles, the types of bail, and then wrap up with special laws and conditions. Let's get into it. Section 1, Arrest, Rights, and Bail. Now, before we get completely lost in the weeds of complex statutes and legal jargon, we need a baseline. We need to actually break down what the concept of bail means in the real world. The formula here is surprisingly simple, but absolutely critical. Listen, bail is not a pardon, okay? It's not an acquittal, and it definitely doesn't mean you're declared innocent. It is simply a temporary release balanced against what's called a surety. And a surety is just a financial or personal guarantee that you are actually going to show up to court for your trial. You're basically trading a strict guarantee for a little bit of temporary freedom. Moving on to Section 2, Constitutional Framework. Let's look at how this whole idea of bail builds on the absolute bedrock of Pakistani law, rules literally designed to protect us from being locked up forever by the authorities without a valid reason. The whole philosophy really boils down to this one powerful line: no person shall be deprived of liberty save in accordance with law. Basically, the government cannot just take your freedom away without strictly following established legal procedures. Articles 9 and 10A of the Constitution specifically guarantee your right to life, liberty, and a fair trial. Think about it. Being locked in a cell for months before your trial even starts, that actively destroys your ability to build a proper defense. And that's exactly why, constitutionally, liberty has to be the default setting. All right, Section 3, Core Principles of Bail. Picture a judge sitting up there in the courtroom. What are the golden rules they're actually using to weigh your personal freedom against the state's criminal accusations? So, the justice system leans on a few massive pillars here. First up, and this is huge, bail is the rule, and jail is the exception. Second, you are presumed entirely innocent until they actually prove you're guilty. When a judge is looking at bail, they look at proportionality. Like, does the potential punishment actually fit what you're accused of? Then, they check the flight risk. Are you going to skip the country? And finally, they figure out if you're likely to mess with evidence or intimidate witnesses. If those risks are low, well, the burden is completely on the state to explain exactly why you belong behind bars. Section 4, Types of Bail. Now, depending on your exact situation, the Criminal Procedure Code, which you'll often hear called the CrPC, offers a few different ways to actually secure that release. The law is actually super clear about separating offenses. If you are accused of a minor bailable offense, say a small scuffle or a minor dispute under Section 496, bail is your absolute, unquestionable legal right. The court has to give it to you. But if we're talking about a serious non-bailable offense like armed robbery or severe assault under Section 497, that's a whole different ballgame. You are relying entirely on the judge's careful discretion there. They have to weigh every single fact before even thinking about letting you walk out. But hey, what if you haven't even been arrested yet, but you're terrified of a politically motivated or just totally fake police report? Enter Section 498, Pre-Arrest Bail. To get this kind of shield, you've got to clear 3 distinct hurdles. Number 1, is there a prima facie or at first glance case against you? Number 2, is there mollified, that means bad faith or malicious intent from the police or whoever is accusing you? And number 3, what's the balance of convenience?
The court uses this test specifically to stop innocent people from facing immediate, unjust humiliation. Section 5, Bail in Special Laws. Okay, this is where things get much, much stricter. How do these baseline rules hold up against Pakistan's highly specialized, targeted statutes?
When we jump into these special laws, the landscape completely changes. Look at this. The standard CrPC allows a maximum of 15 days of police remand. But the Anti-Terrorism Act? It literally doubles that to 30 days. And the National Accountability Ordinance, which deals with heavy corruption cases, allows a staggering 90 days of detention just for questioning. 90 days! Under these specific laws, getting bail is incredibly rare, and you really have to prove some highly exceptional circumstances to the judge.
Section 6, Landmark Case Law. So, how do the Supreme Court and the High Courts actually interpret these complex, super restrictive laws to make sure human rights are still protected? Well, there are 3 landmark rulings that basically set the stage here. The Tariq Basra case really hammered home the idea that bail truly is the rule, not some special VIP privilege. Then you have the Azhar Iqbal case, which created a massive precedent. Basically, if there's a severe delay in even holding a trial, that's practically punishing someone before they're convicted. So that leans heavily toward granting bail. And finally, the Khawaja Asif case proved that even an incredibly powerful body like NAB has hard constitutional limits. They can't just hold someone indefinitely. Section 7, Conditions and Cancellation. Let's talk about the actual practical mechanics. Let's say you get bail. How does it actually work? And more importantly, how can it be snatched away? Executing bail under Section 499 basically means you are signing a strict, binding contract with the court. You might use a personal bond, which is just your legal written promise that you'll show up. Or you might have to put up cold hard cash or actual property as a surety. And here's the catch. If you don't show up for your hearing, Section 514 kicks in, and you completely forfeit that cash or that property straight to the state. It's totally gone. And definitely don't forget this, bail is a conditional privilege. It is not a permanent victory by any means. Under Section 497(5), if you try to make a run for it or abscond, if you start threatening witnesses or destroying evidence, or even if you commit a brand new crime while you're out on release, your bail is going to be canceled swiftly and decisively, and you are heading right back to a cell. Section 8, Conclusion. Let's go ahead and wrap up this explainer by taking a step back and looking at the delicate balancing act at the very core of our justice system. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to really chew on. As these laws are rapidly evolving and as special statutes keep expanding their reach, is the system actually doing a good job balancing the state's need for security with your fundamental constitutional liberty? Honestly, understanding the nuts and bolts of this stuff isn't just for lawyers. It is absolutely vital for protecting yourself and your community. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking those hard questions and definitely stay informed out there.